Alrighty, boys, and of course girls, we have our first game between Satiini and Suppy here at the ASUS RoG Qualifier number 1. 4 players today will qualify for the main tournament at the end of January in 2014. And starting to the bottom right in this third round, we have Suppy for EG, the evil genius. And starting to the top left, we have a player that we haven't seen in quite some time. Satiini has been taking it a little bit easier. For 10 months he wasn't really playing all this much. That's at least what he just told me. So he said that he personally doesn't really think that he will have a big chance in this game to win it. But let's see what he can do. He's an old school player. We had him in Warcraft, we had him in StarCraft 2 for ages, and it's pretty cool to see him back to business. So Terran player here in yellow. And Suppy, one of the things that also you guys might not know, is currently not in the US. He's currently actually in Taiwan, where he plays TESL. So playing on the European server for him definitely not the easiest part. He's currently experiencing what the Koreans have to suffer when they win all those European online tournaments and go for that easy esports money. And well, while we had a lot of Protoss versus Zerg, we now have our first Terran player, and Suppy already making a little bit of an adjustment with his build. He just sent that drone out and scouted everything over here. Reason quite simple, he wants to avoid an 11-11. And we had a question earlier on my Twitter, which is twitter.com/Khaldor. One of the viewers was asking why exactly, in my opinion, Suppy in one of the earlier games didn't end the game like a lot earlier and just went for it with an A move. And I think the reason is quite simple, and it shows a little bit in the style that he opens here. It's one of those tournaments where you can qualify for a massive event later on in or in the early stage of 2014. So you kind of want to play super safe, and you don't want to overextend and want to make a stupid mistake and then lose the game. So sending a drone scout out here, or just making sure that you don't overextend, that you don't go all in with an attack when you know you have the game basically won, as we saw in one of the earlier rounds from Suppy. It's just something that you should, in my opinion, always do. So he's playing it safe, and he's just making sure that there is nothing weird coming in his way, which I kind of like quite a lot. For his opponent, it's a very similar situation. We have the barracks for him finishing, of course, the first Reaper, and with the Reaper coming out, the Overlord sees that already, and also the Reaper itself is something where Satiini just says, you know, I want to know, what does he have? Is he going for a fast gas in his base? If so, how much gas did he mine? Did he go up to 100, or did he mine more than 100? He just wants to get those information, and he's also committing to a second Reaper. So what you would really like to do is maybe kill a drone, kill a couple of Zerglings, force the creep back a little bit, and most important of all, keep those Reapers alive until you have your Hellions. That's the second step of the build. Go for the Hellions and then trying to push the creep back. Really nice move here with the Reaper. That was a nice beeline. The drone, on the other hand, saved by a Spinecrawler build. But this is just Satiini trying to be a little bit annoying, and this is this dance in the early game that we see oh so often, and he's really trying to do some damage here. But on creep you have to be quite careful. The combat drugs are kicking in and healing that Reaper up to health, whereas Reaper number 2 is still over here for a very simple reason. If Zerglings are being run by Suppy, then you want to have that second Reaper there to make sure that not too much goes down. So don't be surprised when that second Reaper doesn't join the battle. It's not because Satiini missed something, it's a decision on purpose just to make sure that run by Reapers don't get into the main base, can't attack the SCV over here, because he wants to have that command center as fast as he can. The Reaper already retreated a little bit, by the way. He is currently at the Zalnaga watchtower, realizing that this is getting a little bit too dangerous. And the Hellions that I was talking about are being built in the factory, 2 at a time, which the Overlord knows. That's one of the disadvantages when you go for this strategy right off the bat. You have no anti-air. So the Overlord can safely run into your main base, fly into your main base, and just say like, hey buddy, how's it doing? How's it going? And yeah, have a quick look. With the Hellions that come out, the one thing that Satiini really would like to do is shut this down. Shut the queens down that drop the creep tumors. Make sure that those bases don't get connected, because that third base is coming up right now, and Suppy would like nothing more than just connect those 2 bases with creep. Push that creep out onto the map, gives you map control, it gives you vision, it gives you a speed bonus for your units, and these are all things that you want, of course, to like shut down right at the beginning. So currently looking to the top, we have more and more Hellions coming into play, and interestingly enough, we have a second factory coming in. So looks like we're gonna see a bit of mech play here from Satiini. Mech has been buffed a bit since the recent patch. Blue Flame Hellions. Alright, so something that we actually haven't seen in quite some time. This for Suppy right now looks very normal. This is absolutely looking normal. This is like an absolute normal build. It's like, yep, you have your Reaper, you have your Hellions. The question is he gonna see what else is there? And the answer to that question is, oh yeah, he will. He sees the double factory, he sees the tech lab, he sees everything, and that is of course now a little bit annoying. He was really hoping to blindside his opponent here, but that's a bit unfortunate for Satiini. Blue Flame Hellions, there was a time in the game where they were the answer to everything. That time has passed, but they're still damn strong. Hellions themselves not strong enough to take down the hatch here, and those queens, of course, they're still guarded by a few zerglings in the back, and that is something that Satiini also anticipates. If he could kill a couple of queens here, he would be super happy, but that's not going to happen anytime soon. So, looking to the top, we have now the commitment to a third base. This is not just simply a push where he tries to move out with Blue Flame Hellions, blindside Suppy, and YOLO the game. We have him commit to a third base, and the queens are actually there. And here we go. This time he's committing. The lings are running in, and he's gonna get nothing so far, only a few zerglings. One of the Hellions is already down. Blue Flame is going to kick on very soon. That's going to be the end of the Zerglings. And yep, that's going to happen. But the Queens, they have the energy. And they could always go for the Transfusers. But you can already see what happened here. We have a very, very low HP third base. Which means that even with 4 Queens, you need to think about what you're going to spend your energy on. Do you go for all those Transfusers? Do you go for a couple of Creep Tumors? You need to cover Injects as well. So there's a lot of shit to do. If you're a Zerg player, you have a lot of stuff to do. Same is of course true for a Terran player who goes into 2 additional factories right now and goes for straight up mech game. And at this time, I mean, okay, there we have them, the roaches. The roaches here putting an end to the Blue Flame attack aggression for now. But we have a very, oh wow, 21 drones at one point in time. Nice scans here, taking down the Creep Tumors. I mean, to be quite honest with you, Satiini saying that he's not in best shape because he had a bit of a break is definitely something that we should mention here, and is probably true. But at the same time, he's not doing too bad. Yeah, he's not winning any prizes just yet, but still, he is definitely giving Suppy a little bit more of a run for the money than the last opponent did. So, the Spire attack coming up here against the mech style is not really the worst thing that he could do. Question being, of course, does he get the Mutalisks out in time and in the numbers that he needs? Because the other problem is that against the mech army, one of the things that you might consider is swarm hosts. That is something that is actually quite strong. But with the lack of anti in a normal mech composition, it's always, yeah, Mutalisks can always be pretty epic. What you really want to have as a Terran player then are of course not only your good old missile turrets, but you need to go into a couple of Thors. And that is something that we should see Satiini build very soon. Wouldn't be surprised to see him drop a scan or anything. And the Viking that we saw earlier will, by the way, not only shut down the scouting, but also put an end to all that creep spreading on the potential third base for Satiini. When the Overlords throw up, you know that you have to send something over to take them down, because that is a mess. That is such a mess. You need a cleaning lady to clean that shit up. There comes our Viking, and the Overlord is gonna die a slow and painful death. Is not even gonna move. He's completely paralyzed with fear, as you can see. And yeah, then he dies. 4th base for Suppy on the other hand, and just comparing the harvester count here, we have a 69 drone count against 56 SCVs. But once again, the Hellions give him a certain amount of map control, and Zerglings, they don't work too well against that. They are toast, and therefore not a lot to do. A Zergling sandwich is a nice thing, but not if you're going up against Blue Flame Hellions. Roaches on the other hand, yeah, shouldn't probably go up against those. Mutalisks are now coming into play, and to be quite frank, we do not have the Thor numbers that he needs to really deal with them. There is not a lot of anti here, and I'm a little bit worried that he might be in a lot of trouble. Right now it's actually not too bad, because with this scout he can immediately start additional missile turrets, and he can also go into more Thors if he wants to. But this, for example, I mean, how is he supposed to hold that? Or to place that down? Does anybody see that happen? Anybody? Anybody? No? No? Yeah, me neither. That's not gonna work. There are no missile turrets, there doesn't have enough time, there's no Thor, and he just doesn't have the anti, and this is getting a little bit scary. He also doesn't build any additional Thors. He doesn't have the gas. And now suddenly that command center is in serious danger of dying. There's only one Thor. He could magic box the Thor. And he should. He should just simply magic box the Thor, I feel. Those SCVs that you send out to repair it, they would die one by one. He could do a lot of damage with this. Maybe not just yet. I don't think he has the +1 attack upgrade. No, he doesn't. But the +1 armor is coming to play. So, What we also have is like not only the 4th base, but there's a 5th coming. So this kind of macro play is really where you can see that Suppy is going to have a pretty good edge here. Another Overlord just spreading the creep here, being a little bit sassy, and yeah, that orbital is just going to be even more delayed. So mining from that 3rd base, yeah, that's not going to happen anytime soon. 1 missile turret, very optimistic, not going to work. And that is where things are starting to get a little bit weird. But now we have the Thor numbers finally in the game, and that suddenly changes things. So the Mutalisk will of course recover, but still having the Thor numbers here is important. And now here comes the Infestation Pit. And this is for, or it should be for Swarm Host. It could of course also be for a fast attack into Hive and then trying to get the Broodlords out. But Swarm Host would be a good choice here. Dumping all of the gas, on the other hand, into Mutalisk indicates already that he has other plans, and that's exactly what happens. He goes into Hive Tech instead. But yeah, that's a lot of Mutalisks. That's a ton of Mutalisks. 18 Mutalisks at a time. I expected a couple of Swarm Hosts to come out here, especially in the position that he's currently in. But that's going to be 28, and with 28 you can go up against those missile turrets in the main base easy peasy. So I don't think that Satiini can really move out. But he's getting his double upgrades, and that helps everything. How many Thors do we have? I think in total we're going to have 5. Yep, we're going up to 5 Thors. So that is definitely something where he can do some damage. This is now the scary time, when that army moves out. That's nearly a 200 supply army that we have here for Satiini. Same is of course true for Suppy. I mean, don't want to down talk what he currently has on the map. But he also has a lot of drone supply, which means that an army supply, Satiini is at looking a 2nd armor upgrade finishing up for a 127 supply army, which is just making its way across the map. Here we go, the magic boxing is on, and well, with only these many Thors, I do not think that you can hold that. Not enough anti-air, and everything here is gonna die. So Mutalisks are the answer, and Satiini just didn't have enough anti-air. It's a scary army, but if you don't have anything to really keep those Mutalisks at bay, you're going to lose it, and the only thing that you're going to trade for is that one simple hatch, and that just doesn't work. At the same time, we have the Roaches, by the way, attacking that 3rd base. A few units trying to run into the natural, and also a few going over to the 3rd, but that main fight was definitely here, where the entire army of Satiini was just completely taken apart. So Satiini here definitely, yeah, in a very bad spot, and he just, this game is just over. Army supply is being doubled by Suppy now. Even with the base lost to the right side of the map, he's still looking at 2 additional ones to the left side, which puts him up at a total of 5 versus 3. And this is a base that, yeah, Satiini doesn't even know about. He had a glimpse of this one a bit earlier, but it does not really look like his enemy is going to happen. I mean, the amount of Mutalisks is disgusting, and I'm a Zerg player saying that. This is crazy. This is 44 Mutalisks that are currently looking at a +1 armor upgrade, getting an attack upgrade. He can split the Mutalisks, just attack the Thors with a few of those. The damage that they dish out at this point, I mean, this is brutal. They are one-hitting Thors, by the way. GG and game, as Suppy wins game number 1, or map number 1, in the best of 3 against Satiini here at the ASUS RoG Qualifier number 1. Guys, make sure that you check out my Twitter at twitter.com/Khaldor. And we're going to jump into the 2nd game of these 2 players here in just a second.